What's up, guys? Jeremy Conn here. It's a Lowdown. It's all brought to you by Pickdawgz.com. Appreciate you guys watching this. Please click the like and subscribe button. That helps me out, helps the company out. If you click the notification button, that helps you out. And as I always say, text the word inner circle to the concrete inner circle. The number's over here. If you do that, you'll find out more about the rated system and what we have going on over there. You get plays that are rated. You get more plays. It is a little bit more expensive. You get late breaking stuff as well. I've had a lot of fun. So this week, what was it? Thursday was a really good day. Friday was a good day. I mean, football was kind to me. Baseball, yeah, Friday was a good day. Saturday, it was a winning day, but not great. If I go back to it, Wednesday was a bad day for me. I'm trying to remember how the whole thing went. I mean, I probably could have looked this up beforehand, but we're sitting here talking about it. And this will be a shorter one, not because for any other reason, but I only have two games to talk about. I'll get into what I liked on Sunday, what I had on Saturday, and the typical stuff. I'm also today going to give out some of the results of the algorithm that I use and where it has guys projected. Hopefully some of that helps. So you'll see me reading here a little bit and trying to scroll through this, so bear with me. But I thought it was something else I could throw in if you're going to do some player props for the evening and see what fits, your game flow and what you think is going to happen in this game. Now, to go back to Saturday, I did the one thing. We talked about it. You don't bet on Penn State in big games, and here they are again. I figured we might have this conversation, and I wouldn't even know how to react if I had won that game because, honestly, this is what they do. And you find these spots where you're like, yeah, this has to be it. We got an Oregon team that hasn't really beat anyone. We don't know how good they're going to be. Penn State, talented, returning a lot of key players. Nope, they lose in overtime. It was kind of a weird day for me on Sunday. Sorry, I'm rubbing my eyes. Or Saturday, excuse me. At Illinois, they won outright. Had the Duke-Syracuse over, and, of course, Syracuse just did not score. Duke dropped 38, and I think Syracuse had 3. Thought that would be a little bit closer, even with the backup quarterback. I did like LSU. That lost. Who else? Why am I doing this when I got my plays right in front of me? I swear I do this all the time where it's like, hey, my memory is great, and not to realize over the years my memory has sucked ass. Here we go. Penn State, Illinois, LSU. I had South Carolina big. That was nice. I had Iowa. They covered. And I kind of I talked about Boston College, and they crapped the bed. They had a chance to win it at the end, or at least drive, and possibly, but they threw a pick at the end of that game. And that was frustrating. Where else to go? I did hit my baseball play. I had the Cubs over as my baseball play, or one of them, on Saturday as well. So that was a winner. It was nice. I mean, we've had back-to-back days, and now baseball is ending on Sunday or yesterday. And we have, which I'll get into here in just a second, what's coming up. We only have one playoff series that's set so far. But I'll talk a little bit about that and the potential matchup. Now, going on to Sunday, my favorite play, my best bet was the Chiefs. I went back to them. Let's see if they screw me over. In a perfect scenario, the Ravens win on a last-second field goal by 1 or 2, and I cover, but that's not how it always goes. This Ravens team's got some wholesale issues on the defensive side of the ball, and even if they win this week, I don't think it's necessarily fixed. Some of the issues that they're having, a lot of injuries at the same position where they can't stop the run. It doesn't allow them to do any of the things they like. The weird thing is the Kansas City Chiefs offense does not look great. They can't run the football that well. Isaiah Pacheco and his kitten mittens, as I said, he runs like a cat that you put in mittens where his legs are just chopping down, but he hasn't figured it out this year. But this should be an excellent spot for him to kind of go off against this Ravens defense the way it's been playing, and that's been a house of horrors for Baltimore. Baltimore and Buffalo know about it. Going into Kansas City has not been kind, and here we are. My other favorite play was the Atlanta Falcons. I thought everybody was missing out on this one. Just because what you did the week before doesn't mean that's who you are right now. They got shut out by the Panthers. Yeah, oh my God, they suck again. They went into Minnesota and beat up on the Vikings. We're like, oh my God, they're really good. And here we are with the team. They blew it for me in week 1. But I do think the Falcons are the spot. I like Drake London a lot. I think he is good to go over his prop. I like him for an anytime touchdown. Who else? We had I did like the Vikings in the Dublin game. I love the Jags over. I think the Jags are going to be a sneaky over team this year. I've been on them, I think, every week. And outside of Carolina, which was, I mean, that game should have gone over, but don't get me started on that. So many turnovers going into the end zone to make it ridiculous, and then even stalling out on the last drive where I'm not going to get into it. It's just week one was frustrating for me, even though I had a winning week. I lost my top two plays. But all that being said, I did like the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. I liked Houston a lot. I thought that line was interesting with the fact that it was 7 and you got some 7.5s in some places. But yeah, I mean, this was one of those days where we were going to look at the games and go, okay, is this the spot? Is this where we want to be? Oh, Tampa was the other one that I kind of liked. So Tampa plus 3.5. All right, let's get into this. Again, I don't know if I'll be able to. I got to see if my weather algorithm is going to work during postseason play. For some reason, I don't feel like it does, but it may. I can still go over the weather and talk about it. Just won't have the historical data that I like personally. But Padres and Cubs start on Tuesday. So we'll get this thing going right off the bat. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on Sunday because Milwaukee and Philly battling it out for that number one overall spot. Milwaukee decided to pitch Freddie Peralta today to get that and get the bye. If it doesn't work out, I guess we see how the whole thing plays out and if you're able to set your rotation appropriately. I think they still may. But either way, I mean, Milwaukee's just been one of those solid teams that we haven't talked enough about. But with the Padres and the Cubs, Padres pitching, does it hold up for the whole series? Mike King's back. He hasn't looked great. You've got the likes of Dylan Cease and Yu Darvish, and I know I'm leaving somebody else out. I should be talking. Nick Pivetta on the Cubs side started to get a little healthy as far as their bats. Hopefully that Kyle Tucker looks 100% in the postseason. I know he's been playing through something. But you look at the spot we have, Cubs bats, they've been good. I mean, these are two of the teams that I felt like could make a run, and now they face off against each other, knowing that the Cubs have done this before. They've got some veteran leadership there, which I like, some pitchers that have pitched in the postseason. On the flip side with San Diego, no fear of the Dodgers, which I don't think any of the teams fear them, but you know how that builds. I mean, that lineup just looks ridiculous for how much, and they're going to go out and spend more money. Hell, the Cubs might wind up in running into the Dodgers in the postseason, and then watch Kyle Tucker go off and go play for them next year, so they have another MVP candidate in the middle lineup. We'll see, but he's a free agent at the end of the year, and that should be fun. But yeah, Cubs and Padres starting on Tuesday, so we'll pay attention to all these series. We'll continue to talk about it here on the Lowdown and get into it. But we have a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. And because this is the first day that we're doing this, I'm on the road, obviously. We'll be able to look ahead of time and start talking about some of these baseball games and other games to mix in. And then before we know it, it'll be basketball and college hoops, and the NHL will be back. And I do talk about all that stuff. I don't claim to be the most intelligent when it comes to the NHL. I know how to handicap the games. I know how to follow the money and look for certain spots. And honestly, the NHL has been one of my better sports in not knowing anything about the game, really. And I say that as a sports talk show radio host. When I say I don't know anything about the game, like if you're a huge hockey fan, I could sit down and not embarrass myself. I've said this before, like basketball and hockey run parallel, and I'm a basketball guy. I'd rather watch the worst basketball game than the best hockey game. So take that for what it's worth. All right, let's get into these games here, but we'll have plenty to talk about throughout. So hopefully you guys keep coming back and checking out the show. Lots of football talk. And, yeah, this is every single day, so I hope to see you guys back here. All right, let's get into the games. And what we have for this evening is Cincinnati at Denver. Denver's a 7.5-point favorite. The total's 44. I don't know what to think here about Cincinnati. Browning brought them back, and they looked okay in game, what was that, the game against the Jags? That's when Burrow got hurt. And he came in. He looked fine then. Looked absolutely awful last week. Just horrendous. And I don't know what to think about this Cincinnati team. Their defense sucks, so Denver should have no issues, whether it's R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, and just talking about that. Here, let me move this around so when we talk each game, I can try to talk about some of the player props. I mean, Dobbins has the highest rushing numbers here, at least outcome. I'm sorry, no, he doesn't. He just has the highest touchdown equity. All right, so Dobbins at 62 rush yards. I got Chase Brown at 76. Bo Nix at 29 rush yards. Where are we at? Jake Browning at 9. Some of the receivers it's so weird seeing a list of the top players and just not seeing some of the names you expect to be up there, especially with these wide receivers. I mean, Jamar Chase, I saw somebody in their fantasy league traded Jamar Chase for just basically nothing. They didn't know what he's doing. All right. Wow, I'm not even seeing. I missed something here. All right. So as far as, I know why. You idiot. I had this put on rushing touchdowns, and of course, no wide receivers are getting rushing touchdowns. Here we go. Jamar Chase, 82 receiving yards. He has decent touchdown equity, almost approaching half. I know I'm going to spit out some things that people aren't going to understand what I'm saying here, but I'm just trying to give you the numbers as I'm running through it. Cortland Sutton, 64 receiving yards. They got him right around 4.5 receptions. Jamar Chase was at 6.7. I don't know if there's anything else. T. Higgins, 58 yards, it's targets. 4.6 completions. Let's go to the quarterbacks. I hope some of this is helping you guys, and if not, you can write down saying I didn't understand, and I'll try to explain it better. But this is basically what they're projected to get in the algorithm. So let me just grab a player. I think I clicked on wide receiver. Hang on. Yeah. So if we look at quarterbacks here, let me tell you what the quarterbacks are projected for. Where are we at? All right. Passing. Let me just hit this. So here we go. Jake Browning. I'll just read you his line. 37.4 pass attempts, 23.4 completions, interceptions 1.19 per game, passing yards 248, passing touchdowns 1.29. So that's just saying on average this is what he's normally going to get in a game like this. This is a predictive algorithm. Same thing with Tua, 34 pass attempts, 23.3 completion percent, or completion per attempts. Not attempts, completions. Jesus Christ, Jeremy, learn how to speak. 256 was his passing yards. Justin Fields is 203. Bo Nix, 239. You guys kind of get the idea. I mean, you look at this game, Denver's favored by 7.5. I mean, I always try to find a reason to take the dog, and clearly I think Cincinnati could be in this game. Denver's defense hasn't looked like it should. I'm assuming Jamar Chase gets the Patrick Surtain treatment, but I mean, look, I think Surtain's the best corner in the league. I don't know that it matters with Chase. If you have a quarterback that's going to take chances and throw it to him, he's still going to make plays on the best corner in the league. You just might have a few more interceptions if you're taking that many chances because, look, I'm not sitting there telling you Surtain's not good. It's just all the advantages are in favor of the offense. So in this spot, I'm going to lean Denver. I'll take a minus the 7.5. I looked at the total man, I don't think Denver's going to have any issues scoring with Cincinnati on Denver. And, with the 7.5, Denver is that perfect backdoor team too, where they're up 2 scores. And then here they are trying to run the clock out with Sean Payton. And here's hand it off a couple times. We'll do this, punt it back. And then there's the backdoor touchdown. You win by 7 and you don't cover, things like that. I'm always thinking about that. But yeah, I think Denver's the right side of this. Let's move on to the Jets at the Dolphins. These games, for whatever reason, always turn out to be pretty good. Miami is favored by 2.5. You heard that right. The Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites. Total's 45. I went over some of these numbers. Let me give it out for the best players that we have here. Let's go. I already did the QB numbers. Let's go to rush yards. As we have, I mentioned Chase Brown. HN is at 85 rush yards. On 13.5 attempts. J.K. Dobbins, we said 62. Breece Hall, 58 rush yards. Justin Fields, 45 rush yards, if you want to check out his prop. The one thing that I liked in this is that I started to see Ollie Gordon getting a little bit more action. I don't know that I'd bet him for an anytime touchdown, but they have him with a decent TD equity here where it's like, really? You think he's only going to get 7 attempts in the game and one of them is going to be a touchdown run? Okay. I mean, if that's what the model's telling you, I'm not betting it, full disclosure, but I guess we'll find out on Tuesday when we're talking about this, whether or not the model was right with him. I mean, you're never going to know. It's an average. Again, even if he doesn't score, it doesn't mean it was wrong. That, 0.37, 37% of the time. Anyway, let's get to some of the other guys. Braylon Allen, I didn't see too much with, 28 yards, a couple of carries. RJ Harvey was the same thing, 26 yards, 6 carries. I didn't see anything that really jumped out to me early on looking at these props. not much there. But speaking of the matchup between the Jets and Dolphins, I've said this before. Mike McDaniel was one of my favorite coaches in the league. Now, as far as a coordinating standpoint, I thought he was brilliant in San Francisco with the designs, taking stuff from rugby and how they pitched the ball to set up different runs. I just think he's a really, really brilliant offensive mind, but he reminds me so much of Cliff Kingsbury, and I bring this up all the time. Cliff Kingsbury, when he was coaching the Arizona Cardinals, had the same agent as Kyler Murray. And you watch him, and it's like they're buddy-buddy. They're not like, I know he's a little bit older than him in, 10, 15 years, whatever it may be. But I don't know that you can be friends with these guys like that. There still has to be that kind of pecking order of who's in charge, and the coaches are in charge here, and they're calling the plays, and all those things that come into it. And I feel like when you get buddy-buddy and become too much of a player's coach, things can go awry. I mean, we're talking about guys that are getting paid millions of dollars. We're talking about guys that'll look at guys going, you never played this game. You didn't even make it in college, and you're telling me how to do it? Yeah, you're going to have a ton of that. To me, Mike McDaniel did the same thing that Cliff Kingsbury did with his capri pants and his vape pen and running around like crazy. I think he catches on as another offensive coordinator, and maybe he gets another opportunity at some point. But I said I thought 5 weeks and then he'd be gone with the way that this team's playing. Ironic to see them favored by 2.5. The fact that Justin Fields is back, I can't do it. I'm going to take the Jets as my free play plus the 2.5 points. I think both these games stink. And if this was a normal Sunday, I don't think I'd bet either one of these games personally. But they're island games. People want to bet them. So I'm really going to dive into this stuff Monday morning and try to get out as much as I can, see if I can find an edge on these games. But like looking at it ahead of time, I didn't see much here. Not much from the money coming in. I'm seeing more money come in on the Dolphins and the Broncos. Usually that happens with home teams. Usually a little bit more money on the over. But to be honest, it's nothing that's incredible where it's like, oh, my God, we got to take a look at this. It's just been a little bit more on the overs here than the unders, but not much. So there you go. My free play is going to be on the Jets plus 2.5. Full disclosure, I don't love either one of these games. It might be a night where I want to take a night off, but I won't. I'll have plays up because this is what we do. So check out pickdawgz.com. Definitely check out the NFL picks over there. As I said, I've had a really good season in the NFL so far. Hoping my best bet with the Chiefs hits again today. We'll get back to even and work on getting that up to a really good winning percentage at some point this year. If you haven't heard me talk about it, my concrete best bet is my top play throughout the NFL season. I've been doing this, on radio since 2004. I started doing this over 20 years. It may have been a little bit earlier than that, but I remember when I got my first show, this was an every week thing that I was doing. And yeah, it's been successful. One losing season, and looking to get back on track here after starting off with, what I deem to be two tough losses. The Chiefs in week 2 giving up 101 passing yards and the goofy things that happened there, and the Falcons in week 1 after Younghoe Koo misses a field goal that could have tied it, but it shouldn't even come down to that. Just dumb stuff in the game. All right. Hope you guys win some cash. Hope I helped out with some of the algorithm stuff. Leave me some comments. See if you want me to do more of that. I can do more of it, and if I am, I'll have it all written down ahead of time so it's not so disjointed. But I was just sitting here as we started. I'm going, you know what? Let me just spit out some of these algorithm results, especially on island games. It makes it a lot easier. Doing it for like Sundays, if I was just going to specifically pick a game and write down some of the props that make sense, we could do that too. But tell me what you guys like. Appreciate you and hope you win some cash. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have to see how this week looks as what games we're going to talk about. We may even do quite a few look-aheads into Saturday and Sunday as well. Appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow.